All right. Hey, Blasphemers, hang tight. David Weiss is our guest, and we're about to start the show right now. Hey, Blasphemers, welcome to Simple Blasphemy, where we have the best times with the worst topics.
We're three friends that discuss everything and nothing, from wacky headlines to games and trivia. All subjects bizarre and risque are on the table.
Our weekly guests range from friends, musicians, and artists to professionals in a variety of industries.
We go live on Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Want to support the show? Join our Patreon. You can find it and more at www.simpleblasphemy.com.
So grab a drink and join in!
It's too late now. This is Simple Blasphemy.
All right. Welcome all to the Simple Blasphemy podcast, all you blasphemers out there. My name is Zach Ward, and I have here with me always Andy's.
And on a faraway date, he was Zach Green, and he was born thus
Yes.
this day.
Zach Green, it's your birthday today. Happy birthday to you. How are you doing tonight?
Up on Eagle's wings.
Right up there.
All the info about this show can be found at thesimpleblasphemy.com. And if you are new here, please click that like, share, subscribe button, and you will receive 5 years good luck. We paid for it, so use it. As mentioned, our guest today is David Weiss. How are you doing today, David?
I'm doing good. Is that true? You get 5 years of good luck for subscribing? I never
Can you
had
believe
that option. I was good luck scribed by YouTube a long time ago.
And that's why I'm broke. Is not only with what you're doing, but what we're doing here.
Yeah. We're going to break our typical formality tonight. And we're really just going to dive. Dave is now a friend of ours. We're going to kind of have a nice discussion to something he likes to talk about, which is the flat earth and how he came to those conclusions that he believes. And before we do that, we would like to ask him only one question, where we usually ask our guests kind of a few icebreakers, if you will. But question one and only number one, David, what is the worst job you have ever had?
Well, now comparing it, that's such a hard question to answer. I mean, compared to what I do now, all my jobs were the worst jobs. So
That's a good place to be in.
yeah, I mean, I love what I do now, which is outside of corporate America. My boss is a bit of a dick, but I'm my boss. So my worst job, I guess I was a dishwasher in a restaurant.
All right. Why was that the worst job? What happened?
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't the worst job.
Yeah. Yeah. Skin.
You know,
Skin.
I remember when I was, dishwashing was one of my very first jobs.
Yeah.
And the formative years, if you will. And I think I learned a lot because you're a young kid. I was like 16, 15 or whatever. And there was older men and women that worked there that weren't your parents or your parents' friends.
So what happened to me is I forged my working papers and I was 15. So I was in this it was a steakhouse, and the owner would freak out if you broke one glass, one cup, anything, right? He was just like so old school, right? But this is a big restaurant, tons of people. So I'd be doing the dishes and I'd have a stack, this high of heavy white dinner plates. And this crazy waiter, this older guy, would come back. He'd go, "Hey, Dave." And he'd take the top plate. He'd turn it sideways. He'd go, bam. And all the plates would split down the middle and fall to the floor. And there'd be pottery everywhere. And before they hit the floor, he was 20 feet away walking around like, what the hell just happened? I mean, I'm 15. And and I have this disaster going on, and that was like my first day.
I really hope that asshole that did that to you is living a real good life right now.
He's so funny. He did other things. So like,
am I missing out? Maybe I should start doing that right now with the people that work under me.
it was funny. It was funny, but that was the most horrifying moment of my life.
I won't do that.
Just walk up and just toss a guitar on the floor. Pick it up. I said pick it up.
Before we dive into Flat Earth, which we're just about to dive into that, folks, this just brought up a memory of mine, a job right out of high school. And mind you, we're all musicians, and I had hair down to about my navel, and I had got this job to do roofing, and it was at a school, and there's like 4 stories of scaffolding, and I pull up to the job. My hair is down to my belly. And as I'm walking in my car to go up to meet whoever is going to be in charge of me, yells from the top, "Get a haircut and get a real job." And I was like, oh, shit. I am in for this one. And I walk up the ladder to a whole bunch of roofers, like rolling illegal things.
Doobies.
And it was a nightmare.
And that's why I'm dealing with the same nightmare today.
All right. One more formality here, folks. We like to give a shout out to the audio only statistics that we have. And we've basically just buttoned it down to one country winner, which is India, once again at 93% of all downloads for the audio.
I don't even
India,
know, man.
please send me a T-shirt, please. I will wear it every day.
Do they have
Send me a
official India
T-shirt.
T-shirts?
I want an India T-shirt,
right.
please. Somebody from India, send me a T-shirt. I love fucking T-shirts. It doesn't matter if it's white or black, gray, purple, whatever.
Okay.
It's not
and
yellow.
lastly, our shout out from Tanner Wirtz.
Hey guys, Tanner here. I want to give a big shout out to Zach Green. Happy birthday, dude. I hope by next year you're on a new planet because I know you want that.
Oh, I will be. I guarantee I will be.
What a great message. What a
Yeah.
positive dude.
Okay.
Dude, him coming over one time to my hot tub and he's like in my wheelhouse.
All right. Let's dive into you, David. And before you get into like a lot of the presentation portion of it, can you tell us about yourself? Where did you grow up? High school? What happened? What was your story?
What happened? What happened to you? How did you become
nutshell?
I grew up in Connecticut. I still live in Connecticut. I worked in corporate America. I had the American dream. I left my corporate job and started my own company with a couple partners. It was doing phenomenal. And I was doing a podcast on the side, a conspiracy podcast. And then when people started sending me flat earth stuff, like any smart person, I would ban them from our social media for being so stupid. But then I looked into it. I found out, oh my God, that this is the biggest lie of all. And it kind of, swept me away. And now I've left my own company. I'm doing this full time. I'm a host of the Flat Earth podcast. I created an app that helps people learn about this. And I'm talking to people like you.
Absolutely. So, what was the job what was the business that you owned and operated before?
It was a commercial solar power development company. We would design, identify, design, finance, and construct commercial solar power projects.
Wow. Okay. So what kind of college or what led you up to that, type of thing?
I just went to college. I got a business degree. And then I just went into corporate America. I was in the printing business for years, and then I got kind of tired of that and moved into solar, and then started my own company, and did that for about 5 or 6 years, and then I left, and here I am.
So what intrigued you? A lot of people that jump into businesses, what intrigued you about the solar thing that you thought there was a niche in the market where you could make some cash off
He
of. Or
really
whatnot.
likes the sun.
Well, it was interesting. Solar power was always an interesting topic for me, and with what's going on in the world, with fuel and everything, and being green, I thought it was a great idea, and it was. Company is actually doing very well. So I like to sell things that I like. Well, I like solar power. It's a great concept, and it's a great deal. It really wasn't about selling. It was just about informing people of how good of a deal it was. The stuff that we were selling, solar power isn't good for everybody. It doesn't pay for some residences. It all depends on the incentive programs. But where I was, basically, let's say you owned a building and you needed a new roof. It's going to cost you $500,000 to replace your roof. Well, nobody likes replacing their own roof because it's $500,000 out of their pocket and no one ever gets to see it, but you have to do it. I could come in and say, hey, I'm going to put solar on your roof. I'm going to put a new roof on for you. I'm going to finance the whole thing. And at the end of year one, you're going to have $1 million in your pocket rather than $500,000 out of your pocket. And it's going to save you more money. And then people then they kick you out. They go, that can't be real. But it is real. And I would explain it, set the whole thing up, set up the project, move on to the next one.
Well, so my question to you is, in Ohio, more towards Indiana, we have tons of wind turbine farms. I remember driving over there, and it was almost the first time was like a movie. There would be four, maybe that's an exaggeration, maybe 80 solar, or not solar power, but the wind turbines doing that thing. If you were to pitch somebody on renewable energy, from your experience, why is the sun better than actually wind or other what they call renewable resources?
Well, there's two things. One, wind, you have to be in a place where it's windy, but sun, the sun is everywhere, but there's also, places that aren't so sunny. So you have to be in a place where you have a good amount of sun. And the big difference for me is solar panels have no moving parts. A wind turbine is all about moving parts. Right. When you have moving parts, things break. Nothing is moving on the solar power system other than the little fan in the inverter, which isn't really a big issue. So it's no moving parts. It's passive. And what's funny is solar power really connects to the flat earth idea, because scientists don't know how solar power works. They think they have a theory, it's like the photon hits the panel and it knocks out a boron, and the boron jumps to the next position, creates a current. That's not what's happening at all. When you look at the world construct that we live in, the reason they don't know how it works is because they don't know that our sun is small and close, and it's electric in nature. It's sending electricity to the earth, and these panels are just capturing the electricity. They're not capturing photons. They're actually capturing electricity. So, the scientists in the solar power business don't even know how their solar panels are working.
So how would you suggest that you're able to measure that? And how would you measure that, I guess, is the question.
How would I measure?
Well, if you're suggesting that the method that people are testing what's coming from the sun is literally electricity rather than, I'm not even informed enough to know what
yeah. So if you had two house plants and you put one of them in front of a fire and the other one in front of fluorescent lights, which one's going to grow and which one's going to shrivel up and die?
Yeah, I would say the fluorescent light thing was probably the
one that's going to grow. Die. So the sun acts kind of like an electric light that is making things grow, giving us light. It's not a burning ball of hydrogen 93 million miles away that somehow we're floating in this magical Goldilocks zone for billions of years, where we evolved from an amoeba to a fish with legs to a monkey to a human. That's complete and utter pseudoscience nonsense. We are here, and everything, the only true forces in this world are electric and magnetic by nature. Electricity and magnetism are brother and sister, if you will. And the Earth system that we live on is like a giant battery where everything's connected. The sun and the moon are the anode and cathode of the battery system as they circle over the flat Earth. And the salt water carries the current. The land is the salt bridge of the battery. And all of this stuff can be measured. I mean, there's negative electric charge to the Earth, measurable, testable, repeatable. And every meter you get off the Earth, you get another 100 volts. So, at 2 meters, it's 200 volts. 3 meters, it's 300 volts. So there's all this free energy. Where's it coming from? And I say it's coming from this Earth battery system.
All right.
Tesla proved it. He pulled the electricity out of the ground.
Tesla. Yeah, I mean, well, if I was to circle back, we have to the solar panel thing. We actually have, I believe, 2 companies here in town, believe it or not, First Solar, and I can't remember what the other one is, which is basically a government, government-based, funded, I would say, technology company, which many people don't understand is just that the Columbus in Ohio gives a lot of money to the development of solar energy and many other different things.
Solar power is heavily subsidized, yes, just like oil and gas and everything else.
Correct. So on the subject of solar panels, when somebody comes to our neighborhood and tries a pitch to put solar panels in, and they talk about the, for a lack of a better term, chemistry of how the solar panel works, how is it that you're suggesting that the panel's actually just receiving energy rather than...
Well, it's very similar, but see, they're thinking photons are coming. I'm saying electric current is coming, and the panels are simply picking up that electricity and funneling it into currents.
Okay.
They say photons are coming, knocking boron molecules out, which are creating a positive and negative charge. I mean, I can't even explain it. It's kind of like explaining the heliocentric model. It just falls apart as you try to add more and more detail. They admit they're not sure how it works. They don't even know. I don't even think they know who invented it. I mean, this could be a leftover technology from the previous civilization here in the 1800s.
Oh, so are you suggesting that are you a young Earth creationist kind of model?
I don't even like to go there, but because I used to laugh at anyone that the Earth 5,000 years old. That's crazy. I don't know how old the Earth is. All I know is that this round of society we've only been doing this for just over 100 years. As far as, I'm not saying that we just were created 100 years ago. I'm saying this belief system that we're living in is barely 100 years old. In 1920, everyone on Earth knew it was flat. Okay. It wasn't 500 years ago or 2,000 years ago, the Greeks with sticks and shadows. That's nonsense. Okay. Because I interviewed a 102-year-old woman back in February of 2020, and she had a great memory of her when she was a kid. I was talking to her about the World's Fairs, which is another rabbit hole. And I asked her what they taught her in science about the Earth in elementary school. And she said she was taught that the Earth was flat in Connecticut public schools. And then we had another woman from Croatia who said in the 1930s, all of the schools taught that it was flat. And we found newspaper articles on microfilm talking about how teachers were being persecuted for trying to teach heliocentrism in the school systems across the plain.
So what was it that where was the pivot point where you're saying we went from a flat Earth being taught to the heliocentric model?
I think it started right around 1900, and then World War I distracted everybody, and they started destroying the old world more and more, getting rid of everything that really mattered. And then then we had Depression, World War II, and everything was changed. The story of Aristophanes, right? The Greek mathematician that
not me.
So this is one of the stories that they teach in school, that this guy Aristophanes, he measured light coming in, all the sun rays supposedly come in parallel, and he had a well that he could see the sun at the bottom on one day of the year, and so he knew that the sun was directly above him. And then his friend 500 miles away had a stick, and it had a shadow, and the only way that could work is if the earth was curved, right? And so then he did some math, and he figured out what size the earth is based on this spherical geometry. And that is taught in schools, that the Greeks figured it out 500 years ago. Well, this guy, there's no information about this mathematician doing this until the 1980s, when it was stuck into Rockefeller textbooks and taught in the school system. But on a flat earth, the sun is small and close, just like we see it. You see these corpuscular rays, you connect them. The sun's not 93 million miles away. It's right above the clouds. And on a flat earth, you can have a shadow on this stick and no shadow on this stick with a small local sun. So his experiment doesn't even prove either. It doesn't prove the earth is flat or round. And it's literally was brainwashed into everybody through Carl Sagan in the show Cosmos when it came out in the 1980s.
Well, why do you think they're doing this?
Yeah.
Why the lie? Every show goes to why the lie, just for fun.
But
No.
why do they feel they need to lead us away from the truth?
Yeah, there's no benefit to it.
By the way, saying the truth is not a fair
Well, I mean,
thing. We're having a real.
Well,
I'm just saying, we're having a good discussion.
I could never, experiment and get high enough above the atmosphere to look down, but I'm only living my life based on what other people have told me about the planet, and I've never actually did the experiments. A lot of times I'm not able to do the experiments because you have to have special tools and this and that.
Permits.
So
Aeronautics Administration.
All I can do is put my faith in you. So what is this misleading thing? Why is this misleading thing going on?
Let me explain what the flat Earth is first. Okay.
Sure.
So we live in the Antarctic basin. So this is the Earth right here. And just think of it like a giant pond, right? Mm-hmm. All of the world's oceans are a pond. And the edge of the pond is just where the land is higher than the water. And that contains water. The edge of the flat Earth isn't the edge of a pancake where you fall off into space. It's the edge of a pond. And then you have all of this land that goes on beyond it. Well, that land is called Antarctica. And if Antarctica, if there's not other worlds right beyond it, then Antarctica is bigger than all of the oceans and all of the continents combined. Okay. Antarctica is also the highest land on Earth. They don't teach you that in school. Like if you go to Antarctica, the surface of the ice is 200 feet above your head. Okay. Because we live in this Antarctic basin and nobody is allowed to explore beyond this pink line, which is 60 degrees south. It's off limits. You and I can't do it. No corporation can do it. And it can't even be questioned until the year 2041. What's going on there?
Who abides that? Who holds that law?
That is by the
United Nations.
Do I get 6 stars in Grand Theft Auto and they start sending tanks and shit?
No, there's a treaty. There's a treaty,
exactly.
Antarctic Treaty.
Huh.
Right.
However, I mean, you could take, tours of Antarctica.
So this is interesting. To take a tour of Antarctica, it'll cost you $10,000 to $30,000 just for a couple of days. So that kind of wipes out a lot of people just from going. And there's
I have 4 kids. Trust me, that wipes my bank account out.
Yeah, there's about 15 different companies that you can register with. But if you look into all those companies, they're all owned by the same guy. Okay, so there's really one company that manages the tours to Antarctica. And when you go, you get to go to Santiago. Then you go out to this little island, this little peninsula here, and they show you some penguins out here. And then they'll take you outwards maybe to here, and they'll show you a pole stuck in the ground. And it's a ceremonial South Pole, okay? It's a ceremonial South Pole. You can't verify it because, one, compasses don't work out there. and GPS doesn't work out there. So that's it. And then they kick you out and you're gone. Well, nobody gets to explore these thousands and thousands and thousands of miles of this other terrain. What's going on out here? Admiral Byrd, and just before the treaty, he flew out there and then went on the early news shows, and he said he found a land bigger than the United States, untouched by humans, that's filled with resources. And then somehow we did this treaty to save the penguins, and also because of military issues, they use that, national security. All the nations in the world sign on, right? And you can't question the treaty until the year 2041, where they're going to kick it down the road another 80 years. But meanwhile, we can deforest the Amazon. We can do all sorts of crap. But nobody's allowed to explore Antarctica because we must protect the ice and the penguins. If that doesn't raise a red flag, I don't know what does.
I don't blame you. I mean, it is a little bit of a bizarre situation, but let's look at your map really quickly. And there's a few places that you're able to take a cruise to Antarctica, which is basically Brazil.
Yep.
And I'm assuming there was somewhere in Africa.
Yep. I think there's 3 entry points,
but nothing at the picture we're looking at, nothing south because it's so far away.
Well, everything is south.
Well, I don't mean it like that. I'm just saying if you're looking at the graphic on this, the down.
Let me show you guys how
Sure.
it works. Let me share my app with you guys.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we had somebody say that. Here we go. I am the reason says, show the app. So here we go.
I made the app for people to so they can see what's going on. So if you could share that, nice. There you go. So you're looking down at the Earth from here, right? And you're looking down, and that's the Earth pond. And think of the Earth pond as the face of a clock. And if I turn time lapse on, I'll make it go real fast. The sun goes around once every 24 hours. Okay, it just circles around the Earth like that. It's small and it's close. And it'll lap the moon once every 28 days. So you see it's catching up to the moon, and the moon's phases are changing. So the sun marks the hours and the days, right? The moon and its phases and its position mark the weeks and the months. They used to call them months, believe it or not.
Okay.
And let me slow it down. I'll turn on the the stars. So these are the 12 zodiacs. Right now, you can see the Zodiac is going into one. The Zodiac spins just slightly faster than the sun, and it'll lap the sun once a year. So the next Zodiac behind it, I believe, is Pisces. That'll catch up to it next month, and the one beyond that will catch up the following month. And that's why the sun is in that star sign for about a month for for each year. So the stars keep track of the seasons and the years. So let me show you how the seasons work on here.
Well, what about the wobble?
The what?
What?
The wobble, the
No,
wobble of
wobble. That's all a lie. That's all.
That is a lie.
You see the outer yellow line? The outer yellow line is called the Tropic of Capricorn. And on December 21st, the sun is over the Tropic of Capricorn. Right now, it's already migrating back in towards the inner yellow line. And then the red line in the middle, that's the equator. So next month, February, March 21st, right there, we're at March 26th. It's the sun is over the equator. And then 3 months later, it'll be June, and the sun will be over the inner line, which is the Tropic of Cancer. And it's the inner north summer, because the sun is over our heads. You guys are in the north. So think about this. You got 2 airplanes flying at 10,000 feet coming over your head. One of them's over your head. The other one's paralleling it, but it's 50 miles to the south or 20 miles to the south. You can still see it, but it's lower in the sky. So the one over your head is your summer sun, and the one out south is your winter sun. It's farther away. It's lower in the sky. You see it for less time, and that's just how we see the sun right now, because it's out south. It's coming back. Therefore, it's going to be higher in the sky. Every day, the sun is a little bit higher just because it's coming closer to us.
Let's jump to a couple questions while we're on this graphic really quickly. Robert Scott, who's a buddy of mine, lawyer here in town. there are times when all of Antarctica has 24 days. That's not possible.
It's not possible on a flat Earth. He's
Right.
right.
I don't know. Tell me.
No.
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, so the 24-hour sun in Antarctica doesn't exist. Now there is 24 hours of light, and that's because as the sun moves out in December, it's closer to what we believe is a dome, and the light will wrap around and create a
You're saying up. It's up.
Well, no, like when it's going out south, like where it is right now, you see how the light is wrapping more than half the Earth right now, on the graphic. As I jump it forward, and this is light according to time and date. So right there is the equinox. Look, it's half equal. It's half light and half dark. And then if I bring it all the way in, the darkness wraps around even farther. And that's just how the sun works. And I have some videos on time and date. Maybe I can share that video in a moment, and to show you how it works.
All right, let me give you one.
Here's the thing.
Let
me just answer the question. The 24-hour sun does not exist in Antarctica. It does exist in the inner north because the sun is close and stays right where you need it to be. It stays within your view. But in the south, there's like 17-hour days in New Zealand, but you don't see the sun all of that time. It goes away. And there's 4 videos showing a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, and they're obviously provably faked videos. They're really horrible. They're so poorly done.
All right, let's get one on your side here. The Bible says the foundation of the earth is set and cannot be moved. The ground and the people can be moved, but the foundation of it will never be moved. That comes from Barry. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, there's 200 verses in the Bible talking about a fixed, immovable earth. Never in the Bible does it ever talk about planets, spheres, balls. Only in Isaiah does it say the circle of the earth. Well, this pond is a circle. Okay. So, my table is a circle. It's not a sphere. So page 1 of the Bible in Genesis, it says God separated the waters from the waters with the firmament, and the firmament is the dome. And you think about NASA, all of their terms when they talk about space, they're nautical terms. The Sea of Tranquility, the docking, the ships, all the voyages. It's all nautical terms. So maybe they're trying to tell us something.
Let me ask you this, because I've watched Green and Andy have watched a lot of your videos.
Yeah.
And you've spoke about being an atheist or a non-believer prior to researching the flat earth. Can you speak to that a little bit? Of how were you an atheist before this or no?
Well, I never labeled myself an atheist,
Sure.
but anytime I listen
Or non-believer.
to anybody that would bring up anything, the Quran, the Bible, Jesus, I'd immediately unsubscribe, stop listening, and throw out any notes I took on whatever they said because they're religious fanatics. So I guess you can call me a nihilistic atheist at that point. But then when I discovered the true makeup of this world, or the fact that we're not a random accident in a heliocentric universe, I understood that there's a creator. And there's a verse in the Bible that basically says, once you see my creation with the earth, there's no longer any excuse to deny my existence. And so that's one of the reasons that they are doing
Old Testament?
this. You know what? My co-host Matt Long from Woketown on the Flat Earth podcast, he knows the Bible verse, but I don't know it off the top of my head.
I think that was Old Testament, by the way.
All right.
So you would technically have actually 3 religions to choose from with the Abrahamic religion. You would have Judaism, Muslim, and Christianity. So how did you come to the conclusion that Christianity was the choice after?
Oh, no. You're getting me wrong. I'm just telling you, all religions, the Quran is a flat earth book. The Bible is a flat earth book. Every religion, every civilization before us were all flat earths. Look at all of their maps and stuff. It's all flat earth. The globe earth is new. Globe earth is just here for deception after the reset that happened, in the late 1800s, I think.
How
And
old do you think? How old do you suspect the Earth is?
I don't know. I don't know. I think this round of civilization is 100 and 150 years, maybe max.
It's like irrelevant to.
No, it's not irrelevant. It could be 10,000 years old. It could be 500 years old. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't have enough information. And carbon dating is a bunch of nonsense. They've sent stuff to carbon dating labs and just gotten ridiculous numbers when they know that something is 500 years old and they're getting 50,000 years or whatever. You can't you can carbon date something maybe 100 years, 200 years maybe, but the numbers that they give are all nonsense. Let me finish with this so I can get out of the app. So on the flat Earth, the north is the center. It's a magnetic center. So just think of it like a magnetic mountain there, and all compasses point to it. So if you want the dead reckoning east, this is how people circumnavigate the world. They go east, and your compass always has to point towards the center. So east and west are circles. When you go to the east, you have to correct to the left. When you go to the west, you have to correct to the right. And north and south is every direction away from the center. So any straight line will eventually go south and be headed, will head out to Antarctica. So
Can I ask you a question on this?
Yep.
Just because.
Yep.
I'm lucky enough to be in different parts of Earth, so to speak. Mm-hmm. The high noon, the sun is directly above you, right?
Well, it depends. Only if you're in between the tropics.
If you're between the tropics, Australia, you're still high noon is above you, but Australia
only in December.
But Australia doesn't seem to have the same thing. Can you speak to that on how it's different for the different parts of this model?
Yeah. So if you look right now, like I'll jump the sun out to December, June, July, October, November, December, and you can see that it's going over Australia. So in December, Australia will have the sun directly over its head, and it's the heat of their summer on December 20. The heat of their summer on December 21st.
Our winter is
our winter, because it's over their head. It's the airplane that's flying directly over their head. Well, for us, that airplane is way to the south and it's lower in the sky. So now the sun's going to come back, and it's going to come back to the center, and it's now their winter, and the sun is closer to us, and it's almost over our head, but it doesn't go over our head because we're too far north. That's why it's never directly over your head. This makes perfect sense, right? And so that's how seasons work. And we're told that that the reason we have seasons is because the Earth is just tilted away, and we have this spread out light. Yeah, that makes no sense, because when the sun is on the horizon in the morning in June, you could feel the heat on your face really powerfully. But when the sun on December 21st is at its highest point for the day, which is a much more direct angle, you can't even feel the heat on your face. Why is that? And according to the heliocentric model, during our winter, wrap your mind around this, we're 4 million miles closer to the sun during our northern winter. We're closer than we are. So everything's inverted in the helio-nonsensical model.
All right. So now that we've got through this app thing just a little bit, and did we put a link up for this one? Did you want to put that back up for people really quickly?
I'll put a link up in a second. Hold on, though. So here's what I tell people. Every day there's a new video down in the left-hand corner, and I say, take the Flat Earth App Challenge. Watch the video every day for 2 weeks, and then you will know that you don't live on a spinning ball. But and at the end of that 2 weeks, if you think you have one proof for the globe, you can send it to me. I'll refund your $2.99, and I'll give you a full Bitcoin. Okay, that's my challenge to anybody. I'm giving away a Bitcoin for one globe proof. But before you do it, you have to hit the question mark, and up comes all of the questions that you're going to ask.
Say,
what about southern flights? What about seasons we talked about? Or what about ships over the horizon, or why the lie? We're talking about that. Hit why the lie. Up come a playlist of videos that YouTube will not serve you. Okay, and then then you'll have your answer, and you realize, well, that was silly. And then there's all sorts of other resources on here, from the mud floods to other debunking tools, all sorts of stuff, different languages. And that's the app. It's called the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app.
So, folks, really quickly, we've got a lot of chatter in the comments. We definitely want to take some. Let me put you up on that really quick, Dave, for a second here.
That's right.
That way that
yeah.
Okay, so first of all, I just want to circle back and say this specific podcast is just people talking about stuff. So if there's anything that's being trolling, we're just not going to do it.
Let me jump in, and I don't mind the troll comments because they come. But here are the troll comments. They're going to say Flat Earth is stupid. Flat Earth is dying. Dave Weiss is a scammer. He's trying to make money selling his app. He's but what
which
you'll
is
notice
true, right?
Well, I am, but I walked away from a high 6-figure position to do this, all right? And this is not a 6-figure app deal. So I'm doing this because there's a reason, and we're going to get into that. But the thing is, it doesn't matter why I'm doing it. If you think Flat Earth is stupid, come claim your Bitcoin. All you need is one proof of the ball. But these people that are either professional trollers or just people that are so indoctrinated they can't see, they will never offer any proof. The only thing they'll say is star rotation, why are the other planets round, right? Well, you don't even know that the other planets are round. But my question to you is, if you guys look up at the lights in your ceiling right now, does that describe what shape the floor is? Looking up at the sky is a trick to figuring out what's below our feet. So, the Earth is measurably, observably flat, measurably, observably not moving. And just notice the comments, though, and also the ones that are relentless that will reply to everyone's comments on the video. Go check their channel, and there's zero content on their channel. They're just bot accounts that are here to distract you.
There's funny things, of course. And you know what? The one thing about being alive today is also having a little bit of humor in life, which is acceptable, right? So I recall you on a podcast video show that you were not a believer in religion. However, once you did your research and you've came to the conclusion that Flat Earth was convincing for you, that made you become a believer. Can you speak to that a little bit? Like, what was that process?
A believer in what? God?
Yeah. Or there was a creator.
Creator. There's a creator. So you can label the creator any way you want. But when you understand that we're not an accident that just exploded and we're not lost in space, you look at this world. It's an intelligently designed world that we're living in. So therefore, there's no denying there's a creator. Now, who's the creator? How did the creator come to be? Those are bigger questions than I'm going to answer.
So you don't believe in Christianity then? Or
I didn't say that at all.
Oh,
I'm saying that there's a creator.
Who do you think the creator is?
I don't know.
Bill Gates.
Not Bill Gates.
Morpheus.
Andy, I know you have a question. I think I've been talking.
I did have a question, but this seems to be a different model than the model that I was researching. The one that I was researching said that Antarctica was the ice wall that was holding everything in from falling off the edge of the Earth.
That's the Flat Earth Society disinformation site that Obama plugged a half a dozen times in his speeches, and they're always pushing people to that site. Google will push you to that site and that information. The Flat Earth Society is disinformation. It's to make you laugh at Flat Earth. It's to make you waste your time. And the Flat Earth Society says that the Earth is rising at 9.8 meters per second to create the feeling of gravity, when no Flat Earther believes that. That's nonsense. So, the flat Earth. This is the flat Earth right here. And there is an ice wall, but it's not a wall like the Game of Thrones where you can piss off the end of the world. It's just the edge of the pond, the Earth pond. And then Antarctica, what's beyond it for thousands of miles, is off limits to all of us. Okay, Antarctica is where the secret lies.
So we live in a big Truman Show?
We very well might. Now, is there a dome or not? Again, that's beyond where we're allowed to go. I truly believe there is a dome. There's people that believe the dome is electromagnetic. It's energetic. Some people believe it's glass-like because it's in scripture. It talks about like the dome being a looking glass.
All right, hold on.
The Bible is a scientific tool.
Yeah,
is throwing me for a loop because the Bible is not a scientific tool.
I don't use that. I'm just saying what other people believe.
It has been mentioned a number of times in the conversation so far. The Bible says this, the Bible says that. That's a book.
No. I'm with you 100%. So listen, I'm not the Bible guy. I'm just saying we don't know. And I'm telling you why other people have different beliefs. There may not even be a dome. I don't know. But there's a lot of flat earthers that believe there is a physical dome because the second law of thermodynamics says you can't have high pressure next to low pressure or a vacuum, super no pressure, without a physical barrier. Now, that's true. That's a fact. And the only thing the globers can say is that the gravity is holding the air down and not letting the vacuum of space pull it up and away. But I can take a straw and suck air or water up and away effortlessly with the weak vacuum of my mouth and lungs, right? So that kind of disproves that. But here's the problem. I don't believe space is a vacuum. I believe space is water. And there's evidence to show that, or it's a thicker, viscous, maybe it transitions into water.
From hydrogen and oxygen?
Because
water is H2O, right?
Yeah,
Two parts hydrogen.
Well, that's another whole nother rabbit hole.
So what you're saying, David, is nothing is real.
Unfortunately, yeah.
But for me, for my own personal benefit, how do you prove what you have is right?
Sure.
As opposed to what the majority, I'm assuming the majority of the population.
The majority is not a fair statement to say.
Okay.
So let's talk about that. So they tell us the Earth is 24,901 miles around in circumference at the equator. So there's spherical geometry that, globe math says that curvature formula is very simple. It sounds complicated, but it's simple. It's 8 inches per mile squared. First mile is 8-inch drop. Second mile is 2 times 2, which is 4 times 8, 32 inches. Third mile, 6-foot drop. This is globe math, not flat Earth math. So a 6-foot tall person standing next to a calm body of water should only be able to see the surface of that water for 3 miles, and then it drops below their vision, and you have a physical horizon. And then the farther you go, the faster it drops off because, the Earth is curving faster and faster as you go out on that tangent line. So according to globe math, this oil rig should have, at 9.4 miles, camera height of 1 foot, should have 59 feet of curvature blocking the bottom of the rig. But not only can we see the entire rig, we can see the water for tens of miles beyond it, where there should be hundreds of feet of curvature, but there's not. And the only answer the globers give is that refraction is magically lifting up that water behind it and stopping it right at eye level. There's other observations from Aluja, France. We can see Canigou Mountain only 2 days a year. It's 175 miles away. From the observer height there to that, when you look out, the horizon there's nothing there. And of course you can't see Canigou Mountain because the top of that mountain should be a mile below the curvature. But 2 days a year, the sun is in line with it. So you can't see the mountain because its light can't push through to you. But 2 days a year, the sun goes beyond it and it backlights the mountain, and you can see the outline of the mountain on the sun. And you can see it perfectly where you can see the entire mountain.
Which continent is that?
This is called Canigou Mountain from Aluja, France. Now, all of that information is in the app under We Can See Too Far or Boats Over the Horizon. All of the videos, all the documentation shows you how you can do it yourself. shows you everything.
Can I say a joke a little bit? Because twice a year, my wife's breasts are way more perkier than they are from the rest of the year, which would be my argument to that. But I was just trying to put a little bit of humor in here to go back to your picture in the background.
Yeah. Well,
how were you convinced? What convinced you that what made you believe that what you have on the screen right now?
yeah.
Because I have to remember that there's people here not watching. What convinced you on the screen that, oh yeah, this fits with the flat Earth model?
We can see too far. So it doesn't fit with the globe model.
Okay.
Provably, scientifically provable. So there's two options. Maybe the Earth isn't flat. Maybe it's 1,000 times bigger than they're telling us. 1,000, because it would have to be, because with our infrared cameras and stuff, we can see so far now. The Earth would have to be over 1,000 times bigger for us to be able to see the things that we can now see. Now,
So what about
we have on the app under the playlist of professional testimony? We have one second. Professional testimony. We have Navy gun weapons guys, whatever, that talk about painting a boat target with a pencil thin laser at 100 miles away. At 100 miles, there should be 6,600 feet of water between them. A mountain of water, over a mile tall, but they can see the boat and they can pinpoint it with a laser beam. So you would have to believe that laser beam is climbing over and going down and hitting it, and somehow he can see it at the same time. That's nonsense. Go ahead.
okay? So
Yeah,
wait,
go ahead, Andy. I have something.
how many trillions? Because I'm going to go off on a limb and say it's going to be trillions of dollars. Do they spend? They being the quote. Do they spend sending us all these beautiful pictures of Jupiter, sending satellites up in the air, the blue marble, NASA?
All right.
I just want to know, but I want to know, like, why spend all of this money? And I know that that's a question in your app. Maybe you can answer for me. Why spend all this money to fuck with us?
Okay, hold on. That's actually not a fair question, to be quite honest with you,
it's a
because
great
you're
question,
going
and
far
I want to
left.
answer it. I want to answer it.
Well, let's do it.
Okay, so Jupiter. It just takes me a little second because I got to load stuff here because StreamYard doesn't work the same way as Zoom.
Well, go ahead.
So this is the picture. This is the picture that's in every textbook of Jupiter, right? It didn't cost millions of dollars. It probably cost about $150 to get somebody to paint it. All right. And then in 2016, NASA says, hey, look, we've got a picture of the northern lights on Jupiter. Therefore, that proves they have a magnetic pole also, right? This looks like garbage, but let's just assume that's real. Right? These are both from NASA. If you overlay this picture on top of this picture, what you will see is every little cloud, every little dot is exactly the same on both of these, right? Meanwhile, NASA showed us pictures where this band is going clockwise, this band is going counterclockwise, this one clockwise, this storm, which is bigger than Earth, is spinning out of control, right? These are exactly the same. And these are both from NASA. This shows you two things. One, NASA's lying and we didn't go to the moon. And two, people are lazy because this information's right out there and people still believe in NASA.
Well,
So you believe that Stanley Kubrick directed the moon landing?
Well, I don't know. I wasn't there. Do you believe that these are two photos of Earth? Right? Look at this. Look at the United States here and look at the United States here. This one's twice the size.
Let's hold on. Let me just back up 2 seconds to be fair.
Yeah.
When you show the pictures of, was it Jupiter?
Yep.
When you say, hey, these are two things, but my conclusion is NASA's lying to us, it's kind of, or we didn't land on the moon, I'm sorry. It's like you're drawing a line without, it's two different things. If you don't,
no, I got you. So NASA is lying, and I'm gonna, and again, I can only show you so many things here, but on the app, just go on, are all space agencies lying? And then we have hundreds of videos that'll show you so many lies that you have to realize that we didn't go. If I showed you the actual footage that NASA showed of the lunar lander reconnecting with the orbiter, you would laugh. I mean, if you were the director of South Park and they submitted that as a clip for a South Park movie, you would say, no, it's too shitty. Okay. Here's the 2012 photo of Earth, right? Let's do a little measurement. So we can measure, because you can drive across Mexico, take a boat, drive across Baja, and that measurement is 934 miles, okay? The Earth's diameter is 7,917 miles, they tell us, okay? You would need 8.5 of these to show you, you have two conclusions here. One, the Earth is like a tenth of the size or a quarter of the size, or two, this is a painting and NASA's lying and we didn't go to the moon. Okay. This is a painting and people believe this is a shot from outer space.
Well, suggesting that's an actual painting,
it's a painting
is a little bit of a, only because you're suggesting paint, right? But let me ask you this. Why do space agencies in countries that especially hate us, that we're not allies
really
with, that collaborate the whole thing with the spherical thing, and also propagate lies that only move more money towards NASA, who you're suggesting is lying to us?
Is it just like a money sink?
I'm on the space station. I'm floating. Look, and I have zero budget. NASA gets $65 million a day. $65 million a day for what? For nonsense, right? You know that they do their training in a pool, right? For spacewalks. This is done in a pool. You know how I know it? Because it's in a pool. That's how I know it, right? But your mind will see whatever they want you to show, whatever they want to show you. And by the way, this is how they've done it. They've divided us by countries. Countries are fake. They're all in on it together. Every country that has a space agency is in on it. Did you watch the Chinese moon landing a couple weeks ago or a month ago, where they went and they caught they took some dust and they brought it back? It is the worst animation ever. Okay, it is the dumbest crap ever, and people just gobble it up. People gobble it up. I mean, you believe you're spinning in 4 different directions at once, and we can have lakes like this, but the equator bulges 14 miles high due to centrifugal force, but this lake is unaffected.
So I'm sorry, and now that Zach Ward actually he exited on accident, I'm sure. But what I want to understand is the special effects budget we're talking about here is astronomical. I'm going to go back to that.
Absolutely not true. Not true. Let's put the special effect budget at $1 million a day, which it's not. It's way, way, way less than that. But $1 million a day will save us $64 million a day, or $80 billion over the year.
Then what is NASA for?
NASA is to make you believe you can live on a ball.
It seems like there's so much placation that goes into this that there's no payoff for it. Why are you placating me? I mean, I understand that religion placates people and stuff like that, but like, why would science be
control?
For what? To what end? Obviously, there's mind control because people are jumping the fence at the Capitol and fucking with that stuff. There's mind control in that.
Dude,
yes.
So what they want is they want you to believe that you live on this prison planet, that you are a random accident, and they don't want you knowing your power. So here's the analogy I use. It's from The Matrix, right? The movie The Matrix. Mm-hmm. It's Keanu or Neo at the beginning. He's lost. He's depressed. He's laying in his bed a lot. He's trying to figure out there's something wrong with the world. He can't figure out what's wrong because his soul knows the truth, but his conscious mind is separated from his soul. And by the end of the movie, Neo finds out what the world is, who he is, where he is, what he is, and the power of his mind. And he regains his power. That's what they don't want. They don't want us regaining our power and to not feed them with our energy. We're in a spiritual war, believe it or not, and they're feeding off of everyone's fear, and they're getting everybody to willingly give away their God-given rights, their God-given free will.
On that subject, though, Dave, on that subject, what was the evidence that convinced you of that topic? What gave you
why the lie?
Yeah, I'm just saying, not so much why the lie,
It just
but
sounds like everybody wants to be special. Like, oh, we're on the other side of the fence. It sounds like QAnon bullshit. I'm sorry, and I know I'm not trying to be offensive or anything like that, but it sounds like the stuff that's like saying that there's like lizard people hiding under my house getting ready to eat my kids.
Yeah. I mean, how much NASA proof do you need to understand that NASA's full of shit? This is from NASA. This is the most recent picture of Pluto, right? Is that just my imagination, or does that desert look like Pluto?
It's your imagination. There's no ears on that.
That's my
Pluto.
imagination.
Yeah.
All right.
There's no ears on that.
Yeah.
It also looks like a ball sack that might be dangling upside
Christ.
down. It looks like a
Christ,
coffee
Christ.
stain, but it doesn't look like Pluto.
Right. And you believe that
is there
all-
is
that-
there any suggestion that the graphic you had just before that with Pluto would be any indication or a test or a whatever you want to call it, that you're suggesting that is a claim to further your or help your cause, right?
No,
Why was
I'm
you
saying that they're mocking us? They're mocking us. The dog Pluto was created the same year that they supposedly found Pluto, the planet. They don't want us to know where we are,
Who's
we are.
they?
Yeah.
They are the controlers of this world, the puppets that are, that
Old
are,
man Rothschild, the
Well, no,
Bilderbergs, those two
guys
guys that got all the
are
the plastic
those
surgery guys.
are pulling our strings while there's people pulling their strings. I don't know who they are.
Who's the string? Who's the ultimate string puller? Where's this motherfucker Geppetto at? I need to talk to his ass.
All
Yeah,
right.
maybe he's beyond the Antarctic shoreline. I don't know.
Which isn't fair because, Andy, for a second, I mean, there are people that are high in the Amway pyramid scheme that do, in Dave's defense, I mean, there are,
Pricino.
yeah, your New World Order-esque kind of thing that to a certain degree is real. I mean,
So wait a minute. Wait, the mind is infected. I see a coronavirus up there. Are you a non-COVID believer?
Your mind is infected with cartoons. Do you think that's a coronavirus or is that a cartoon?
So wait, I'm not asking about the cartoons. I'm asking about like the actual thing that has killed people I know.
I believe that there is a coronavirus. Yeah, there's coronavirus every year.
COVID-19, the thing that's currently locking down many countries.
No, COVID-19 isn't locking anybody down. The governments are locking people down.
that actually is true.
Okay, cool,
Facebook.
fine, awesome. COVID-19, real or not?
What do you mean, real or not?
Is it killing? Is it killing people?
And how many people died in 2020 versus 2018? Did you know that more people died in 2018 than 2020?
You're
They didn't
answering
lock-
my
they didn't
question.
lock the world down for that.
You're answering my question.
Okay. Hold on 2 seconds, because that's actually not fair. And when you do look at world statistics from year to year, there are different things that do happen that
Yeah,
caused-
it's amazing. Nobody died of the flu this year, and heart attacks and strokes and cancer deaths. They all moved over to the COVID column. It's amazing. It's truly amazing.
Okay. So on that subject specifically, because if you look at what the media and government are telling you, Dave is correct in saying that they have bypassed what's called, you were susceptible to issues that terminated your life faster than if COVID wasn't there, right?
Yeah. Well,
But
you got to look at the people on the ventilators. There's nurses that have reported that every single person that goes on a ventilator dies in their ward, except one guy who came out of his sedation, pulled the ventilator out of his lungs, and walked out of the hospital. He's the only one that lived, right?
I don't think that going. I'd rather leave this conversation because pigeon-toeing COVID and flat Earth is not a fair discussion.
I agree with you. Happy to leave it. But the reason I talk about flat Earth is because this world is lost. This world has lost their mind. People are putting up with this tyranny, which is completely fabricated and nonsense. And the reason is because they're lost in space, spinning out of control. And they have no idea who they are. That's why. That's why I bring this topic up.
Let me ask you this then. You said spinning out of control, and
Yeah.
we're talking about a flat Earth. Is the flat Earth model actually spinning, or is
No,
it?
it's not spinning, but
stationary?
people are spinning in their minds.
I
People
don't
believe
mean
that
like
they're
that.
spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, orbiting at 66,000 miles an hour, chasing the sun at 500,000 miles an hour, and flying sideways. Why an asteroid could take them out at any moment. We're going to run out of dinosaur juice for our cars. I mean, there's so much nonsense in people's minds. How can they possibly make a rational decision? If
By
you
the
can
way-
convince people of what I just said, then you can convince them that if they get within 5.9 feet of somebody that's perfectly healthy, that they're going to die. Okay.
By the way, dinosaur juice is one of my favorite.
David,
Yeah, I like
That's
dinosaur
awesome.
juice. That's my takeaway.
That is
Hey,
a
David,
great.
David, what can I do? You know, I wake up every day and I just feel like it's just a repeating pattern, and I feel like I'm a fucking program. And every day, at the end of the day, I review and I'm like, what's going on? What the fuck am I doing? What is the fucking purpose? What am I doing? I mean,
let me ask you a question. Do you feel powerless?
I do, especially
Yeah,
especially within the last couple of years. I can honestly
Yeah.
say I do.
So here's the psyop.
And
Here's the psyop. Your thoughts create your reality. Your beliefs, your true core beliefs, create the world that you exist in. Okay, and that's what they want. They want to control your mind so you can be powerless. We are not powerless. You have no idea the power you have over the elite. Right? People say, well, I'm just one person. I still got to go to work. No, that's not the case. You're not just one person. You are a powerful being here. Yeah, you are special. I didn't get into this because I wanted to feel special. I got into this because I wanted to find the truth. But then guess what? I found out, you know what? I'm a little more powerful than I thought. And my world is great. 2020, greatest year ever in my life. Right? World's falling apart around me, but that's their problem. It's not my problem. So again, why, you say that you feel powerless? Well, it's because you're not honoring the creation that you're hearing. You're not appreciating it and using it to your advantage, which should be the advantage to everybody.
because I'm too busy dealing with the fucking bullshit and playing the game.
Right. Well, I
Yeah,
used to be too, and now I'm not.
So again,
what
let me.
can I
No,
do?
hold on. No, hold on, because I don't feel like I got to understand David's story, and the missing piece for me is that you were a non-believer. You researched flat Earth, but now you're a believer in a creator. Aside from whatever religion you want to.
I have no religion.
So, but you believe in a creator.
Well, I don't believe in it. The world is created. Unless you think a tornado can build a 747 when it goes to a junkyard, that, which is crazy. Well, this didn't create by accident. Something created it. Maybe it's created by aliens.
Okay. Can you speak to that? Because that's something I think people have actually heard about.
I believe that more than flat Earth, to be honest.
Well, so aliens, so you believe that aliens have visited this world?
Yes,
I
yeah.
think
If you're asking me,
Okay,
of course,
so
sure.
hold on. So where did they come from? Another star in our galaxy?
Or wherever their technological prowess allowed them to
So
go.
maybe another galaxy?
Another star.
I suppose maybe, yes.
All right, but do you know how far away the closest star to us is?
A very long way away.
Well, other than the sun, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, other than the sun, the next closest star is 4.5 light years. Okay, 4.5 light years. That's 25 trillion miles away. Do you know how much a trillion is?
A lot.
So, how long is a trillion seconds?
Probably like, yeah.
Take a guess. All three of you, quick guess.
You haven't experienced it
Can I
yet.
just say a lot?
A
Well, I
lot.
already
Is
know
it-
the
is it-
distance
is it
between
50
the
years?
nucleus to a proton.
How long is a trillion seconds? Is it more or less than 50 years?
I'll say it's more.
All right, is it more or less than 1,000 years?
I've looked at the
It's a
defense
fucking
budget,
huge fucking number.
and
All right, so here's the number. A trillion seconds is 31,000 years. Okay. 31,000 years. Right. So it's possible a trillion seconds has never even happened on this earth. Right. But the closest star is 25 trillion miles away. And then all the other ones are much farther than that. And you believe that somebody got into a rocket ship, came here, flew through space, and crashed at Roswell, New York, or Roswell, New Mexico, or possibly the extraterrestrials came from the extra territory, extra terra, beyond Antarctica on a day flight. They came here for lunch, turned around and went back before the sun set in their world, right?
No.
That makes more sense.
That makes
You
it
wanna
all
find a
seem so
humanoid,
pedestrian.
they're
I don't know
across
what I
the
believe, to
plane.
tell you the truth, and I
What's
want to have I don't know what I believe anymore, and I spend a lot of time thinking about it, and it bums me out that I can't even have an inkling of fucking truth on what's going on, and that bums me out.
Dave, if you were to tackle something we haven't talked about, where people are, questioning what your beliefs are, is there something we haven't missed that you'd like to make clear? Because I want to be as fair as humanly possible here,
Dude, because I really loved listening to a lot of the podcasts where you're talking about the metaphysics of everything. Like,
okay,
whether you think the earth is flat or round, what I believe in, maybe two separate things, but that's just technicalities. Like, I really love your views on what the metaphysics of it is. Like, what the fuck
Yeah,
are we? What are we fucking doing here?
let's unpack this picture.
So this is one possibility of what's beyond the ice wall. I did a talk called The Outward Flow of Civilizations. It's on my channel, DITRH. And it talks about how our sun is circling in this circle here. But what if there was a sun here before us, and then it moved outwards out to this ring, and then Antarctica froze over, and there's a new sun in here. So these could be different worlds all surrounding each other. And each world, the inner world never knows about the outer world. Maybe the Mayans and the Aztecs and everybody picked up and moved out with their sun. Maybe that sun is called Mars, and their moon is called Venus. Venus has phases just like a moon, right? And Mars could be a distant sun that we see as a star. And then out here, you have another star and another moon. Maybe it's Saturn and Jupiter, right? And those are other more technological worlds out here, right? And that's where your extraterrestrials come from. Now, I have no proof of this, but that makes a hell of a lot more sense than somebody flying 25 trillion miles if they're near at the closest star and finding little Earth and then crashing.
All right. So if you were on that subject, if you were to rate a level of confidence on the scale of 1 to 10, where would you put your confidence in what you said was true as a 10? Yeah, what you're saying, like maybe there's, maybe the Mars or life or whatever that is.
The chances that this is true compared to the heliocentric model are infinitesimal. There's 0% chance of the heliocentric model. There's whatever number you want to put on this, but it's more than. Yeah.
I find it hard. I don't believe in absolutes, period. You know what I mean? So I would have a hard time saying zero.
The only absolute the flat earth has that it's impossible. I mean, we can come up with tons of things. Hey, that works on a flat earth. Well, it also works on a ball earth. Well, that's fine. That works on a flat earth. Doesn't work on a ball earth. Lots of that. We can see too far. But nothing falls into the only works on a ball earth. At some point, you have to say, why is nothing going in this basket? At some point, when you've seen 100, 200, 1,000 NASA lies, green screen screw ups on the ISS, getting tangled in their wires, sticking microphones through somebody's head disappearing because they went beyond the green screen.
Can you show that real quick?
Yeah, do we have
I
that?
can't because I don't know. You guys, we're not on Zoom. I can't.
Why do you think they're going through such lengths to cover this up? Like,
so again, it's all about controlling your mind. Here's the thing: if imagine the world had tyranny going on. Just imagine there was a tyrannical world going on.
I can't imagine that.
And you knew that there's other unexplored lands that are not controlled by tyrannical governments. Do you think you might pick up and go? Absolutely. Right? They don't want us to know there's more. They want us to think that we're on a prison. They want us to think that there is no more. They want us to think that they have dominion over us.
Oh my God, they succeeded.
And it works really well.
In my mind.
But however,
they won.
I went to we have flat earth conferences all over the world. And in October, we had one in South Carolina, and it was 400 plus people there. during COVID, no masks, nobody gotten sick, and but
nobody getting
there
sick
was
is
awake
not,
and aware and stopped giving their energy away. Everybody, doesn't matter what their position, everybody was happy. Everybody was feeling fulfillment in their lives. Everybody's life is getting better all of the time. When you discover flat Earth and you understand where you are, who you are, what you are, life only can get better.
okay.
It can
So
only get
really,
better.
on that specific point, you saying only until you realize who you are and what you are, what is that then? What is something that people are missing of who they are and what they are that you're claiming?
Yes,
we
please
are
qualify
divine
yourself
creation.
your self-actualization.
Yeah.
That we are important, that we have dominion over ourselves. Okay. Here, you know what? I can pull up a couple videos. You wanted me to pull up a couple videos?
Yeah, that's no problem. Yeah, we can do
All
it.
right, let me see if I can do this because all right. So I'm going to ask you guys a question. All right, you can see my
And
screen.
I do apologize. We are not on Zoom because our whole show.
No, it's all right. You know what? StreamYard, I get it. It's just, when the fuck is StreamYard going to allow videos to be played on green screens? I don't know why they're not. So real quick, this video, can you see that? Did I make that big? Can you see that or no?
Not yet, but I mean,
Right,
on the
so I have to open. I'm going to share my whole screen.
yeah, please do.
I think that's the way to do it. Stop sharing. Share entire screen. Let me just see if I have. All right. So share entire screen. All right. So you can see that, right?
I think we're there.
All right. So you can
Move
see
it
that
flat
now,
Earth
right?
like the map.
Yeah, just expand that. Yeah,
Is that good?
Yeah.
sure.
All right. So here's a question from the ISS. Why don't we see land? Go ahead, guys.
We're over the Pacific Ocean.
Are you sure?
No, I'm not. I'm not on the ISS.
Yeah, no idea.
All right. So I'm just showing you. This is how easily you're fooled. This was taken in somebody's front yard and just turned upside down.
Cool.
Right? Zero budget. All right. Zero budget. So I'm just showing
Which
you
is plausible.
how easily you can be fooled.
But whose video was that?
I'm
though?
sure.
So
I'm sure.
that was a flat earther made that. So check it out. This is on the ISS being
Oh,
presented
time out.
to children.
Hold on,
This
Dave.
is on the
Dave,
ISS.
Dave, 1 second. Let's clarify the last video because you kind of run through that really quickly. I said, who used that video? You said a flat earther.
Yeah.
Who actually
Well, he made it. He made
was
it.
broadcasting? So a flat earther made that video.
Yeah, from his front yard, just showing you how easily you can be fooled.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was not.
Sorry, sorry, I wasn't clear. All right, so check this out. This woman is supposedly on the space station, okay, and she's presenting to kids. And watch this. Up in the corner, she up here. Watch, that thing just appeared. It's not real. It's not real. It's called augmented reality. She is playing with something that's not there, and she's looking either with augmented contact lenses, or she's looking at a screen, and she's able to manipulate objects and move them around. So that's what happens there. I'm going to whiz through these.
But what's the context of that video?
That video is them on the space station showing kids how it is to be in weightlessness.
I know.
But
Is
she
that fucking wimpy?
yeah, it's wimpy.
Is this?
They already penetrated her fucking schooling system.
So
It's
watch
over.
the guy on the right.
It's over.
See how he
No, it is.
fades out? Watch right here. You see this thing on the wall? You can see it through him, right? This is because there is no right-hand turns when you're on a zero-G plane. This is filmed in a zero-G plane, and they had to fade him out because he's just going behind this mess right here. Right?
Okay.
This is showing you that NASA isn't telling you the truth.
But that's
It's fake.
also achievable by putting it in After Effects, creating a mask over the top of that stuff.
Why would they need to do that?
For the same reason they have video of the sun burning at millions of degrees that is not real.
All right. So this is a zero-G plane, and both of them, one of them is just designed like the space station. Okay. And a zero-G plane, does this parabolic arc. But one day, this was years ago, I think this might have been Skylab or the Challenger or something, or one of the space stations.
Probably not the Challenger.
I was going to say not the Challenger.
I'm sorry, but during it, they slammed into the wall all of a sudden, and they're like, "Whoa!" Right? They slammed into the wall. So hold on, go back. Watch this guy in the foreground. He's got two objects. One looks like a roll of duct tape, and all of a sudden during the broadcast, he slams the wall, but he catches both of them with one hand like a boss. So they said there was a catastrophic shift in the space station, and it was like this whole big thing. But I was looking at that and going, wait a minute, that looks awfully familiar. It looks like the end of a parabolic flight. So what I did is I compared it to a parabolic flight. I turned that other video sideways and look at the boss catching his two objects. It's literally the end of a parabolic flight, and they mistimed it, or the plane came out of the arc a little too soon. Okay. This is just fakery, and they got caught. And since then, they've never done another live broadcast again from the space station like that.
Well,
Everything
I have to give you props because you're an Apple user, which I am. So I definitely want to say that.
I'll accept that.
I will.
Check this out. At the end of a broadcast, everything that was floating glitched out.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, that's just a glitch. That's just a data problem.
Hold on, Dave. On this specific video, are you familiar or well versed in video compression?
Yeah, that's
because
artifacting.
Andy knows a little bit about this as well.
On the layer that was floating, so
makes no difference.
Oh, wait, hold on. No. Go back, because I will tell you about this, because Andy and I are in the technology side of this a little bit. When you have video compression, there's certain video compression that the surrounding area,
if it still
doesn't change, because it makes the file smaller, but the thing that's moving
gets screwed up.
All right, you know what? We'll take that one off the table, because we can argue that one all day. Is this guy floating? Is this guy floating, or is he hanging from a harness?
Or is he floating and hanging from a harness?
It looks like he
can
has
do his job.
He looks like he has he's promoting.
I seen it.
Oh yeah, it's like in Evil Dead.
That looks like a Adam and Eve strap-on that I've been almost purchased.
That looks like I got one.
So that was why these guys were doing their little flipping in front. He floats by in the background to make it look more real. So here's again augmented reality. This guy goes to pass him the green guy the hat, and he thought he was grabbing it, and he goes to put it away. It's looped right here. He thought he had it, but he didn't have it.
So the augmented reality that these guys are using is that, I'm sorry, not that advanced, because obviously if he's missing it, it's not that advanced, but like the hat would be fake. I know that LiDAR technology is just entering the iPhones now. So you're saying that NASA's had this.
Look at him looking at his screen. Look
what year is this?
This was just recently, like the last couple of years. Right? And this astronaut was never seen again after that. Okay? All right, how about this? Is this actual footage, or is this a rejection from the South Park Went to the Moon footage? This is the lunar lander connecting with the orbiter. Remember, there's two grown men wearing diapers in there.
So we can't diaper shame here.
All right, I'm diaper shaming. At least they didn't have face diapers on. Is that real? Are you buying that as real?
I don't.
How is that thing making those maneuvers in space?
No fucking clue.
I'm not qualified to
they have.
If I was given the opportunity, I think I would lie to the public too. That makes me an evil person. Fuck.
This is, and the only excuse that Globers have is, well, they had to show you this because they didn't want to show you the real technology because there's aliens on the moon. Again, nonsense.
What? Oh, you're okay.
I thought there were Nazis on the moon.
Yeah. Well, maybe there are.
Dave, there's a common.
Dude, what?
Hold on, Green. Hold on. There's a question that comes up. We have the photographs that came in 1960.
Yeah.
Of the moon to the Earth, which this predates Photoshop. You've probably heard this before.
Yeah.
Can you speak to how do you claim that it was bogus?
Yeah.
Prior to Photoshop, where the Earth is a globe. coming from the moon.
Yeah, it was pasted together and photographed. But now, if we take those photos and bring them into Photoshop and crank up the levels, you can see the cutouts. You can see the square cutout of the moon placed over of the Earth, placed out over the horizon. On Saturn, the famous picture of Saturn, if you put that one into Photoshop, crank up the levels, you can see that there's like 5 different layers on it, right? This is, again, another fading astronaut, fading in and out. Let me see what else I got, right? This is 40,000 pounds of steel falling, okay? Or is that a helium balloon?
Hell if I know. It looks...
That looks like the main tank of a space shuttle.
Yeah. So
unfortunately, know how to set up guitars. That's all I know how to do.
It's falling so fast that it's going to burn up eventually, right? But it's 40,000 pounds. You just saw a piece of paper fly by it, okay? That's not falling 40,000 pounds. That is a helium balloon, right?
Okay.
Which opens up another rabbit hole.
Let me take a small moment to pause here. We have a lot of...
One more.
Like an asshole. I'm going to be burned in hell for the rest of my life.
This is Chris Hatfield singing, and this guy is in another room, and he's screwing up, and he sticks the microphone right into his neck. Okay, it's in his neck, right? This is green screen technology, right? He's screwing up, and then when he noticed it, the look on his face was unbelievable, right?
Okay. Let's take a quick pause here. We have a lot of people in the chat.
Wait, one more. Last one. This is Don Pettit, the only guy that thinks he went to space. And he's showing how you drink coffee out of a plastic cup and how the coffee sticks to it. But watch what happens right here. Bam. The coffee jumps out of the cup because the layers got screwed up. The synchronization got screwed up.
Video is not that reliable when you're transmitting from...
Well, coffee can't go into space in right angles. Can it?
Anyway, okay. David, let's take a small pause here. We have a lot of people in the chat.
Okay.
If anybody would like to, and we have on both sides, if anybody would like to propose a statement or a question, just
please, love questions.
Yeah, let's just be clearly we're not going to put anything that's disrespectful.
I'll take disrespect. It's fine. Go ahead, bring it.
Nobody wants. Yeah, but come on, man. Nobody wants disrespect.
No, it just goes to show. I mean, the best proofs they have is you're a moron. Where did you go to school? You live in your mother's basement.
No, I don't.
You're doing this for money. Those are the only
I love people's different takes on out of the box. I love it. I love it. No, I don't want to be part of an echo chamber.
Yeah, exactly. We have Luke that says, "I love you, David." Okay, David, really quickly, and hopefully we'll have a couple things pop up here. Digital ones and zeros video with compression in distances that are that far away that are suggesting a global Earth. I'm not saying the model that you're proposing could suggest that there can be interferences or problems with that compression. It's no different than when Andy and I used to play
50 miles away.
Well, I'm just saying
50 miles.
Andy and I used to play video games in the 90s where you jumped and then you see your friend freeze in the air and then go like this. Mm-hmm. It's just digital transmission of information. There's an opportunity to it be faulty. But my question to you is, given that is even you've had a call drop, right? You've talked and the call dropped. You've had a broadcast on a podcast.
You know what? You can argue that all you want, but when they get tangled in their wires, when they're doing their silly little flips, I mean, that's not video compression. That's them getting tangled in their wires.
I'm not advocating for a possibility of somebody, having monkey business. What I'm suggesting is that when I don't know how else to say it.
No, I like it.
What I'm suggesting to you is that digital, like even today, when you look back at this broadcast, my feed cut out and I had to come back in. I mean, and we're talking about, I have a high-speed internet connection. That
What happens when an astronaut's moving from forward to back and the top half of his head gets cut off?
like digitally or literally?
Like digitally.
Yeah,
Hell of a cleanup.
digitally he's alive. So Dave, on that David, I'm sorry, on that question, when we have a satellite picture of like an asteroid or some kind of,
We don't.
well, I'm
We have
just saying, like
cartoons.
there's some kind of thing happening and it flies and it goes to Russia and blows up, right? And they go back and they see this little, they have this the evidence of something like that penetrating the Earth's atmosphere. How does that fit into? Is it just that's a lie too?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the craters that they show us that are supposedly from asteroid hits are perfect circles. And what they really are is either a plasma vent or more likely a methane bubble. Just look up methane craters in like northern Russia or whatever. Just there's tons of them. And the ones that we see that are all caught on car cams, dashboard cams in northern Russia, they're coming in at shallow angles, right? They're not coming in at 90-degree angles. They're shooting sideways. They're probably just a weapon shot from an airplane.
Well, they're suggesting it's gravity's pulling it towards it rather than being a.
How come all the craters are round? That means it hits at 90 degrees. Doesn't hit like this. It hits like this. We've never seen one come in like that. We've never seen meteor showers shoot up from the horizon, which we should. They only go down or across.
I'm with you. One of your guys says, "I am the reason." Says, "Hey Dave, can you show them the star in the jar?" Is that?
Well, I don't.
I'm assuming this is one of your guys, right?
Maybe I don't see who it was.
I am the reason on YouTube. I'm trying to be fair on both sides.
Yeah, I got it. I'm just trying to pull it up because I don't have.
What is the star in the jar as you're looking?
Star in a jar is where you can put sound waves into a water and it will actually create a tiny little mini sun, like a little bright star in the water with sound waves. Okay. So that could explain some of the things that we're seeing in the sky. So I'm looking for the star. All right, here we go. Let me share again.
Sure.
So this isn't star in a jar. What this is our super zoom cameras looking at some specific stars. Okay.
2 seconds.
Are we there?
I don't know how that happened. Okay, 1 second.
Can you see that?
Yeah, go ahead and hit play.
So that is Arcturus. Why is that going so fast? So does that look like a burning ball of hydrogen 50 trillion miles away? Or does that look like some energetic point of light in our system, in the Earth system? Okay.
I have no idea.
That's Arcturus. This is Capella. Okay. This one is a little out of focus, but it's amazing when you look at it. There's like geometric patterns in there, sacred geometry going on. Amazing, right? These are not burning balls of hydrogen. Our optics have outgrown their lies. So here's a whole bunch of stars just all put together. So these are things in our sky. Don't ask me what they are. There might be points of energy as I wrote there, but they're amazing. They're not burning balls of hydrogen, trillions and trillions of miles away.
Luke says, "I love you, David." Luke Fannin?
Luke Fannin, yeah.
Fan?
Thanks, Luke.
I just want to give a couple of shout outs here. Okay, so really quickly, now, folks, if this is the first time you've seen our podcast, typically we do have a little bit of satire and a little bit of
We haven't talked
fun.
about dicks once.
Yeah, so
once.
Thank God. Thank
But-
God.
We have a contributor that helps us with more or less that we do some fun games or whatever it is, but he has 2 clips with 2 questions for you. So
Okay.
here we go. This is Jack Harrison also giving a birthday shout out
no.
to Zach
no.
Green.
Happy birthday, Zach Green. I'm not going to ask your age, but I'm guessing it's not 26-ish by the looks of you. So I have some questions that I prepared, have it on my tablet. Like I really did work into this today. And I hope you can answer these very serious questions because it's been bothering me for the past 43 minutes that I just don't know this stuff. I broke out the big guns to help me. Puppet Jack helped me take notes on this. And he's going to go away for a little bit because he's got some negative things to say. But for me, oh, no, this is legitimate shit. So besides getting into magnetic polarity and particle and wave pattern formations and centrifugal force and the whole gravity thing, we're just going to ignore science for a minute from the way that I perceive it. Let's talk about if the Earth is really a flat planet. Please explain if we are or are not the only flat planet. And have we observed another flat planet that's out there?
All right.
Wow. That is indoctrination number 1. As I explained at the very beginning, so maybe it was beyond 43 minutes ago, we're not a planet. There are no other planets. We are a plane, right? Planet is a plane with a T added to it or a cross, right? That's a little strange. But the planets that we see in the sky are just lights that are on their they used to be called wandering stars, and they're within the Earth system, right? This is how we knew the Earth, the sun is 93 million miles away. Ready? This is how NASA knows it. One day, Venus transited the sun, and Venus is about the same size as the Earth. And they had 2 people watching it, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast. And the transit started like at different times and ended at different times. So then they said, okay, we can do some math. And we did some crazy calculation, and they determined that the sun is 93 million miles away. Now, what's wrong with that logic? Assuming the whole equation makes sense, what's wrong with it? I'll give you an analogy. Here's an analogy. Zach, there's $1 million in your bank account. I'm going to double it every day for 3 days. So tomorrow there's $2 million. The next day there's $4 million. And the next day there's $8 million. So you have $8 million in your bank account. What's wrong with that equation?
Nothing.
Luckily,
Nothing.
they're
Well, the assumption that Venus is the same size as Earth, that's what's wrong with that equation, right? Venus could be the size of a basketball, right? We don't know.
All right. So, first of all, Dave, I had to stop really quickly and say thank you so much for this conversation. I am so enjoying this right now, only because I think it's the greatest thing about human existence is having a conversation about, just what people believe and how they came to that conclusion and things like that. And
it's not about believing, it's about knowing, and belief is the enemy of knowing. Go ahead.
And unfortunately, like, at least with me, there's a part of me that I don't want to know what the fuck is going on.
Oh, there is a part of that. Yeah. Green would rather not in many respects.
Yeah.
If I knew what was going on, I think I would just be so fucking bored. I would just
Actually, I've not been bored for a split second, man. It's amazing. It's really amazing.
So
I listened to a podcast when you were talking about metaphysics and stuff like that, and I swear to God, I was fucking sleepy when I started. I was fucking woke the fuck up. It was good shit.
Dave, can you? There's a couple things that are typical when somebody's just talking with a flat Earth person. One of which is specifically that, we have the planets are circle, the sun is circle, the moon is circle, yada yada yada. You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Why is it that the Earth is different than all of that other spherical things.
So one, you don't know what shape any of those are. I agree. The moon looks spherical to me, but we've only seen one side of it. And Saturn, when you look at it through a high powered scope, it looks like a nice light, and the rings are also lit, but it is clearly emitting its own light. So for example, here's the moon, a full moon. If you're away from city lights, you can read by a full moon. It's so bright it casts shadows on the ground. You can walk and navigate just by moonlight because it's bright enough. Well, this is the liar on the moon during the day. Does that moon, that light has to travel all the way to Earth and obey the inverse square law of light. And the inverse square law of light is every time you double the distance of something, it gets a quarter of the brightness. And or every time you half the distance of something, it gets 4 times brighter. So let's look at this moon. First, if it's a sphere and it's lit up by a single source light, it would have a hot spot in the middle and the edge, and it would get dimmer towards the edges. But it's not. It's acting like its own light, right? It is casting light. As a matter of fact, it's only lighting up the clouds that are near it, and all the other clouds in the distance are dark, right? Next time there's a full moon or near full moon and there's spotted clouds in the sky, you'll notice that the only ones you can see are the ones that are right near the moon. The other ones aren't lit. So, if this is my hand and the tip of my finger is a light, I can light up this one knuckle right here, right? And the other ones won't be in the light. But if I move it away, all of them are going to be in the light. So the moon 230,000 miles away or 238,000 miles away would light up all the clouds, but it doesn't. But let's look at the inverse square law of light. So a lumen is a measurement of light. This is probably like 20 lumens, but let's just say it's 1 lumen because we're going to give the heliocentric model all of the lead it needs. You go halfway to the moon, it's going to be 4 lumens. You cut that distance in half, it's 16 lumens. Cut that in half, it's 64 lumens, right? You keep doing that until you're about 100 miles from the moon, and it's like 10 million lumens. Okay, 10 million lumens would melt your eyeballs, melt any film that they have, and probably pulverize your friggin' spaceship. This is not 10 million lumens.
That's actually not true.
Well, I'm exaggerating. 10 million lumens is not this. This is
Luminance.
like
No. Luminance is a brightness and a color. It's not. It's not what you're saying.
It would. So it's 10 million times brighter than this. 10 million times brighter than this. All right. The numbers are unreal, right? Light it diminishes by the inverse square law. Okay. So that proves right there that this isn't a distant thing reflecting sunlight. It proves that it's its own light. Okay?
All right, hold on.
There's also very weird things about moonlight. When you amplify that, when you magnify it, it does weird stuff.
Moonlight's a little unfair because the round shadow on the moon during a lunar eclipse
Here we go.
can be seen. Well, I'm just saying that's like it could be seen as round, right?
Well, when you use a sphere to cast a shadow onto another sphere, it doesn't show up as a perfect sphere. As you're approaching the sloping part of the moon away, it comes in as an ellipse like this. Then it spreads out, and then it leaves as an ellipse like that because it's not going on a flat surface, right? But if you took a flat edge and brought it in between that single source light and the round ball, you would see kind of what we see when there's a lunar eclipse. But here's the problem. I'm not saying that there's a flat Earth is doing that or anything else flat. There's a thing called the Seleninian eclipse. There's over 50 of them where the observer on the Earth, you're on the top of the Earth, you see the sun above the horizon, you see the moon above the horizon, and the eclipse starts before either one of them sets. That means that the Earth isn't in between them. And also, the eclipse starts at the top of the moon and comes in from the top. So that also eliminates the Earth. So what is
from the United States?
Anywhere. And they happen all over the place. Yes, they happen in the United States. And again, in the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, click eclipses. There's videos in there that show this and explain it. And so it's not the Earth that's doing it, right? What is an eclipse? Some people say ancient texts talk about Rahu and Ketu, these dark bodies in the sky. I don't know what it is. Maybe the moon's just got a dimmer switch. I don't know.
So on that subject, there was the craters have shadows on the moon when people are taking pictures of it, right?
Yeah, so I agree. I agree with that. I don't necessarily agree that those are craters,
Well,
but they sure do behave shadow wise. They look kind of strange. But here's the problem. When there's a new moon, you know what a new moon is, right? When the moon goes from a waning sliver to nothing, it completely disappears, and nobody from any angle, from any telescope, from any infrared technology has ever seen it again before it starts waxing, which is over, I think it's been 42 hours, almost 2 full days. So when there's a total eclipse of the sun, you never see the moon approaching the sun, and you never see the moon leaving the disk of the sun. You just see an eclipse happen. So what is that? So when there's a total eclipse of the moon, of the sun, and it's at totality, it gets dark out. So the earth shine, right, like moonshine, but when there's a total eclipse of the sun, if you're viewing it from the moon, there's a full earth, right, like a full moon. The earth is 6 times bigger than the moon and arguably more shiny. So the amount of earth shine going to the moon should be more than this moonshine coming to earth that we can read a newspaper by. So during an eclipse, with any camera, with your naked eye, or especially infrared cameras, you should be able to see those craters. You should be able to see the features of the moon. No one's ever seen it. It's just black. So what is it? It is not the moon that's doing it.
All right, we had the only reason I'm bringing this up is because somebody typed so much into a question that it was cut off. So I'm curious to give Alan let's see what this is. It says, a very respectful question. When I was a young boy in Michigan, I saw my first lunar eclipse, which, as told, is the Earth is passing between the sun and the moon. I observed a round shadow from the Earth projected on to the moon.
You were told.
I'm asked my grandpa in Florida, and he said he saw the same exact thing around the round shadow. So I concluded, it doesn't matter where you are standing on the earth, you saw the same thing. Is there another geometrical path besides the circular path that can produce this effect?
He continues on by saying, I need pizza.
Oh, really? I didn't see that part.
He didn't say that.
The Seleninian eclipse proves that it's not the Earth. Also, if you actually do the experiments where you try to make a shadow with a ball onto another ball, it doesn't look anything like the shape of the shadow that we see. It doesn't stay. It changes. The arc of the shadow changes drastically as it enters and exits the ball, right? So again, and then you have Bill Nye, the lying guy with the bow tie, saying it has to be a sphere because only a sphere can do it, and telling you that it's the Earth, but it's not. It has to do with nodal points on the way the sun and the moon circuit around the Earth. And again, on the app, there's eclipse videos that explain it. The eclipses are difficult, but here's the other thing: eclipses have been proven for thousands of years. The Antikythera mechanism it predicts all the eclipses. The eclipses repeat in every 18 years, and I think 11 days or whatever it is, 18 years, 11 months, whatever it is, somewhere around 18 years.
So do asteroids that fly around?
No, not asteroids, comets you're thinking of.
Or comets, I'm sorry.
So and again, those are just luminaries. Asteroids are not real. So the eclipses repeat like a friggin' fine clock, right? Every 18 years. That proves we're not in a heliocentric model, right? Do you know what the 3-body problem is?
No, but since I was 18, I've had 3 different sizes of bodies.
There you go.
Jesus, here we go.
I had to put a little humor in this. Come on now.
So let me explain what the 3-body problem is. You take a supercomputer and you can say, okay, I've got this ball, we'll call it a sun, and it's got this much gravity and it's this size. And then I got this other ball, we'll call it the Earth. It's got this much gravity, and you can set it into orbit and it'll work beautifully. You can say, all right, where is it going to be next week, next year, 10 years, 10,000 years? It'll know exactly where everything is. It works perfectly. Then you add a third body in there, another moon going around the Earth or another planet going around the sun, and the entire model falls apart. They cannot model it. It will not repeat ever. It goes into random chaos mode, right? But
Okay.
we have like 80 bodies in our solar system alone. We have a billion stars in our galaxy, right? But somehow you go out tonight and mark where the stars are at 10 o'clock or midnight or whatever. Next year, same time, same night, you go out, those stars are in the exact same position. Eclipses repeat every 18 years. The sun repeats every day. The stars repeat every year. It's a fine working mechanism. It's not random gravity. So you got the earth is falling around the sun. The moon is falling around the earth. What happens when the moon goes in between the sun and the earth, like during a lunar eclipse? How come the sun doesn't just pull the moon away from the earth, or at least tug it a little bit, or at least jolt it in the tiniest bit? It doesn't at all. Just the magic gravity of the earth is holding on to the moon, and the magic gravity of the sun ignores the moon but holds on to the earth and holds on to the other planets, and those planets magically only hold on to their moons. It's all pseudoscience nonsense, brainwashing idiocy.
So if I could have a little lighthearted comment, just so you could get a couple smiles. You're talking about the three what? What's the problem? The three what?
The 3-body problem.
The 3-body problem. Now, Dave, I've had the 3-body problem before. I've gone to the bathroom at a trough.
Run, Dave, run.
I've gone to the bathroom. We're at a trough where there's 2 bodies, and everything's fine until that third body goes right down the center, and all of a sudden now we're too close to each other as we're.
That dude in the middle really had to piss. That's what's going on there.
Anyway, okay. Last question of the night. Lighthearted. This is lighthearted for everybody, so don't go all crazy. This comes from Jack Harrison. Last video question of the night.
Here we go.
Dave,
again.
can you answer this question?
Last question really hits home to me. It's very important on a very personal level, and it has to do with my grandmother. When I was a child, she told me that if I dug in her front yard far enough, that I would hit China. So does that mean my grandmother was lying to me my whole life? And if so, could you tell me what else she was lying to me about? Thanks so much for your time, guys. And shameless plug, gearguyspodcast.com. Check us out. Papa Jack says peace too. Deuces.
So if
Lighthearted.
ball, it's right. She's not lying. She's just been fooled her whole life. Go see my Ruth video. She knows that the earth is flat, was taught it as a kid, and never really believed it. So your grandmother is not a liar. She's just deceived like you are.
So speak to digging a hole in the centristic heliocentric model. It's suggesting that you would come out the other end.
Yeah.
Why would people go to that extent just to be deceived?
Why would
We've
people go
asked
to
that.
what
We've asked
extent?
this question
Digging
a
hole?
million times.
Oh, sorry.
There's
hole?
no real answer to it.
What's the question? I don't even understand it.
Why are we being deceived? Why the control? Yeah. We've asked it a billion times.
Yeah, well, it's all about controlling your mind and make you think that you're a slave keep you as a working slave for the elite.
I'll tell you right now that football
David,
is
what
control.
am I doing here? What am I doing here? I don't want to fucking be
I
here.
know.
I don't want to be here. I don't want to fucking wake up tomorrow morning and go to fucking work. I'd rather fucking go in my basement and paint my fucking stupid oil painting that nobody will ever fucking see, but it fucking means something to me. But I am fucking kept from that. The moment I come home from work, I am too tired to work on my painting, and I fucking go to bed and I start the whole process again. What am I doing here?
Yeah.
What am I doing here?
Okay, so what Zach is saying, what's the purpose for...
Seriously, it's like I'm in this repeating cycle, and it's just like, I'm literally going mad. I am.
So let me rephrase this for Zach, because you probably haven't seen our show.
I fucking hit my fucking desk and everything went flying. I'm
what
sorry.
What Green is basically saying
Jesus
is that
Christ.
if there's a master plan,
Dude,
and we have a...
No, seriously, seriously,
Hold on.
like, why
Hold
am
on.
I a puppet for somebody else?
Well,
literally,
you gotta get over that.
leave
You
me
gotta
alone.
take your
Leave
power
me
back.
alone. Everybody, leave me alone.
So
right,
you want
hold
to
on.
address the digging through
Seriously,
the
somebody, I'm
the-
looking.
the-
Every day I
lower-
sit in my fucking hot tub. Every fucking night I sit in my fucking hot tub and I fucking look up at the stars and I fucking I don't care who I'm fucking to. I don't care who I'm fucking talking to. The sky gods, make believe. What am I fucking doing here? Why am I on a repeating fucking pattern? And nobody fucking ever fucking answers me.
And it's the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over fucking again. I'm getting fucking tired of it.
Okay.
David, seriously, help me. Help
Green.
me. What am I
God
fucking
damn
doing
it, Green!
here?
I'm about to beat your asses. Hold on a second.
Seriously, what am I doing? David, seriously, what am I doing? What am I
Zach,
doing here?
all right,
I'm
Zach.
living on a planet right now that is literally going fucking crazy. What do I fucking do? Help
So,
me.
here's
Please
the problem.
help me. I
I'll tell
pray
you, I'll tell
every
you.
day for help. What do I fucking do?
Your
Please,
soul
please,
has a
please,
journey, and you've
help
been
me.
ignoring it. You haven't been listening to your soul, so you're
Okay.
lost. That's all. So,
Well,
do you want me to answer the question
Yes.
from the caller? So, the deepest hole ever dug is short of 8 miles. It's 7.5 miles, where they couldn't dig any deeper. That's like digging through the skin of an apple, not even getting through the skin. And while they were digging, they were wrong every step of the way, guessing what they were going to hit next using their radar. And they were wrong. They just were wrong. But all of a sudden, they know what's at the center of the earth. It's pseudoscience. If we lived on a ball, sure, you'd end up in China. We don't. China's over there, not down there.
All right. So let me ask you this: You're suggesting, especially, I'm trying to recap what Zach is. If he's seen Zach's rants before, this would be no surprise. What he's suggesting to you is that you're suggesting that the world is flat, and because of that, and the way that you see the stars and basically what you see above you is kind of like mapped out and planned
within
somehow.
the Earth system. Yes, everything spins above us.
Okay, so everything is kind of like in a machine, so to speak. There's a rhyme
I
and
don't know if I
reason.
call it a machine,
Well,
but
I'm saying
it's within the ether. Yes.
rhyme or reason. There's a watchmaker, so to speak, right? Long story short, you're saying, well, your soul, you haven't reconciled your soul or whatever that is, but you're on occasion you're marrying Christianity or some form of like spiritualism to this flat earth model, but you always shy away from it too. Like, well, I don't believe in any religion. Like, you don't believe in Jesus, do you?
You know, that's my own personal journey. Is there a Christ consciousness? Yeah, but again, I don't even like going there because there are so many people that were like me that if you mention any of this, they just turn away. So I'm kind of just a stepping stool to help you find out that you're in a created world, and then you have to figure it out from there.
So I guess that's where it is. Like, that's where Green always has an issue because, you know, Green is like the blue collar working man where he goes to work and that's what he's talking about. Goes back, comes, works, goes back. And you're in this like symbiotic, like, you know, hell, so to speak, of just constantly working and there's never like a paradise type of or positive outcome kind of thing. So the question is like, what would the last question of tonight, because we're at the 2 hour mark and we've never had a podcast 2 hours. Last question, Zach, you're done. Andy, you're done. This is the last question. Just it's fine. What has convinced you? Like, what's the best evidence that has convinced you that the flat earth model is better than the globe model? And we'll just end it at that. If you have a presentation for that, that's fine as well.
Well, I mean, there's a ton of stuff, but you know, the simplest one is we can see too far. So we don't live on a globe, or it's massively bigger. Either one of them, causes a bigger problem for science. You can't have high pressure next to no pressure without a physical barrier. All measurements, all tests that prove sphericity or motion of the Earth have failed and have proved the opposite. There's so many tests that have been done by bona fide, educated scientists that went in to prove one way and it proved the opposite. And all that stuff's hidden from us. It's not taught in school. Aries failure, the Cavendish experiment, all of these things. So again, if you look at the globe, it is pseudoscience. They use the word science in physics, right? They use the word gravity, but gravity is a theory. It needs 96% dark matter, dark energy to make it almost work. But electromagnetism works, testable, repeatable. You can actually create it. You can defy gravity with it, right? Or you're defying electromagnetism. There's so many things. And here's the thing. If I threw it back at you, I like, what's your one reason? One reason. I have many reasons why I believe the earth is flat. What's your one reason you think you live on a ball? And if you say it's photos from space, you've lost your mind.
Well, I don't know if that's fair to say you lost your mind. You could just say you're deceived.
Yeah, it's okay.
Suggesting that
I retract. You're right.
Well, I'm just saying.
I retract my statement.
I think that this has been an amazing discussion tonight. And I would love to have another discussion with you, like your favorite music group or something like that, that's so not talking about flat earth, to get to know David better on a totally different level, which would be awesome. But we've kind of reached the end of this whole deal. And I do definitely want to promote the flatearthpodcast.com. And Dave, if you're on the video version of this, does have a QR code that you can find the app that he's been talking about tonight. And if that intrigues you to find out more information, please do. Yeah. The flatearth.com podcast also has Dave's contact information, different social medias, and you can, I'm assuming you're welcome for people to.
Yeah, I mean, go to the Flat Earth Podcast, available on all podcast players, or just go to my YouTube, which is DITRH, the initials for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. I have lots of short videos there, so you can watch those all day long. And then you know, if you're able to put your ego down, realize that you've been deceived, and not believe trolls out there that are like, you know, no scientist believes in flat earth. No scientist that's publicly funded will speak about flat earth. Neil deGrasse Tyson says the science is settled. Well, that makes him not a scientist, because science is never settled. Okay.
Well, it's not fair to say you've been deceived. I think it's fair to say that there's research that individuals can do. You know what I mean? Because I would say for both, as a skeptic, I wouldn't say there's an absolute on one side or the other. And the reason that is so intriguing to have you on today was to just learn about your side of the story. And I didn't come to this, you know, conversation saying the earth is round and you're wrong, you know, and I would highly suggest maybe not using the word deceived, because that's not fair, right? Because
I was deceived. Are you kidding me? We're all deceived.
In some way, shape, or form, we actually are deceived.
And maybe that's why I'm so frustrated and angry. So I'm sorry, David. It has nothing to do with me. It has to do with my own personal, like, what the fuck is going on.
All of us.
So, well, my suggestion to you is to connect with your soul and find out what you're doing here.
I try every day to do that, and
that's a rabbit hole.
I am left with no answers, and every day I just wish that some higher being would come up and at least have a fucking chat with me, like over a beer or something. Like I'm the kind of guy that I don't want to listen to the voice in my head, because we all have the voice in the head that talks to us and gives us reason. And I just like, I like anytime I'm trying to learn an actual like a skill or something, somebody actually comes to me and talks to me and shows me hands on hands. And like my whole life, like I have all these questions and they're never answered. It's always just like my own head talking, my own voice talking in my head.
Zach, 1 second.
I know. I cut me off. Yeah, I deserve to be cut off. I'm sorry.
No, you don't deserve to be cut off.
Yeah,
Dave, you talk about the soul. What is your definition of a soul then? What is it? Because each religion kind of has a different.
No idea what I'm fucking doing here.
Yeah, well, that again, I believe that soul is maybe the best way I can describe it is it's a piece of God, and we're here having our experience, having a journey, expanding consciousness, and we're in this realm where it's for lack of a better word, it's magical what we can do here. But the people that have hijacked it don't want us to know that. They want to keep us in fear, in low vibration, so we never connect with our soul and never make that that connection to who we really are and what we're really doing here. And the way I look at it is, it's a spiritual journey. They really want your soul, like the devil wants your soul. Right.
Okay.
So,
all right. Hold on.
They are fucking me in the ass without lube.
So the devil
me in the ass without lube.
Now, hold on, Zach. Just simmer down for a second. You're saying the devil.
Well, I just say evil.
You said devil.
People try to. Oh, I just use the word devil for in place of evil. People will try to steal your soul. We're here. It's a spiritual thing. Your only goal is to maintain control of your soul on this ride.
All right.
But then when I look around with the masses in the world, it's like I'm losing my mind. And it's just like, oh my, like I feel like I'm in a Twilight Zone episode every day, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm the one that is fucked up and needs to fucking be extinguished.
Distinguished and extinguished are two different.
Yeah, maybe the same thing. I don't know. No, but no.
Entertain the thought that you might be God.
I'm the one with the fucking problem, but like everybody else thinks so much differently than me that I'm the fucking one that has a problem. I'm the fucking one that needs to fucking go.
And this is your birthday too, so let's.
I know. Happy birthday, motherfucker.
Let's just end on this note. Wow, David, dude, you've been nothing but a gentleman tonight.
Dave, this has nothing to do with you. I'm sorry. I look up to you. You are the motherfucker of all motherfuckers. I love you, dude.
So, David, maybe in the near future, we could throw in a couple pointers that we could get maybe more specific or whatnot. Anybody here in the chat, please, like. The whole reason why we have this podcast is for having conversations and hearing about other people's opinions respectfully. Sometimes they are on something that we align to, sometimes they're not. But you can't just dismiss anybody's ideology because it doesn't necessarily align with what you are at the time. And I think that's what Dave is trying to say. Hey, I've came across a certain thing that I've found interesting and intriguing, that I've enjoyed, and it's helped me through my life. And there's a number of different types of subjects and situations that can happen. And thank you so much for the majority of everybody, as I'm trying to read through the scroll, is being very respectful. And I hope they find Dave and his podcasts and everything else. Dave, I
love you, man. Sorry, I had to leave for a second. My bladder wasn't agreeing with me.
Dave, why don't you have the last word, and then we'll have our closing here today.
You can lead a man to flat water, but you can't make him think critically about the shape of the earth.
Fair enough. Folks, thank you so much for tuning into the Simple Blasphemy podcast. I hope to have Dave on a totally different subject that's just not something that he typically talks about, that we can go down a path and have some fun with as well. But other than that, please find him, and we hope to see you guys next week with Amanda. It's Amanda's time of the month next week, I believe. And everybody, this is the longest podcast we've ever had.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for being on. I love you, dude.
Thank you so much.
Guys.
Have a great night.
Goodbye.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
He